So tonight, the first week was really about like how do you get started? How do you start something? And this week we have someone who has started something, but also started to maintain that thing and become what I would say is more of like a cultural mainstay within the town. And doing that through fun and positivity, really good branding, and as an added kicker, excellent ice cream. Very excited for Tony to come up and talk to you. I got a chance to look at his slideshow earlier. I'm excited for what he has to share with all of you. So if you could all give Tony Franco a big round of applause. And here we go.
Hello everyone, I'm Tony Franco. I own Beenie's Ice Cream. That's me. I'm so excited to be here, and thank you so much for having me. I graduated from Mendham High School in 2009, so I've been local to this area my whole life, and I love it. And to be able to give back in a way that, well, I'll just get started with the slideshow. Some notes before starting. Just because I'm an adult does not mean I'm good at public speaking. I'm not. I want to get that out of the way. Second, because of this, I made 78 slides, wanting this to be a heavily visual presentation. I have ADD, and I like the fast pace to stay focused and remember all the details of my story and not get lost. Last, I hope you enjoy my story. Feel free to laugh with me or at me if you find something funny. I enjoy entertaining. Here are the chapters. First chapter is The Builder Baby. The I Am Special Trap is chapter number 2. Chapter number 3 is Almost Famous. 4, From Passion to Plan. 5, The Beenie Beginnings. 6, Still Building. And 7, My Advice. Chapter number 1, The Builder Baby. That's me. This is ages 4 through 12, because before 4, I don't know if I'm really doing anything, but I love Legos, forts, arts and crafts, and mac and cheese, and ice cream. I should have added ice cream, but dairy, comfort foods. So ice cream has been a part of my history for a long time. I was the art kid. I loved painting and drawing. Here's one of my creations from the 3rd grade up at a museum. I also was really creative. Well, beyond art, I was always taking Halloween very seriously. As you can tell, I acted out my roles. I had a play date with a friend whose father was a professional drummer and told me that, or told my parents, that I was actually a born drummer and that I should get drum lessons immediately. And there's one of my early pictures of me drumming in my first drum set, which led to chapter 2, which is the I Am Special Trap. Now, I think this is something that a lot of you probably will fall into if you haven't already at some point in your life. Interests are not doing homework, attention and validation equals everything, that's all I cared about, and I was confusing my talent for a plan. I was thinking, I'm awesome at drums, I'm awesome at painting and drawing, I'm just a very creative, smart person. Everything will fall into place, I'm not worried about a plan. Here's me, I was a part of marching band, all the band clubs at school, and that was a drum solo. As you can see, everyone has their back turned, and I am the star. I also was a part of a high school band with my friends. We played at 2 very famous venues. We played at the Starland Ballroom, and we also played at the Stone Pony. I'm not sure if you are familiar with those 2 places, but it's a really huge deal. We were super excited about it at the time, and I had plans to make it to the big leagues in my high school band. This was my band, my friends. Sadly, the band broke up after senior year. Everyone said, okay, that was fun, time to go to college and go on with their real lives. And I thought, this was our real life, what are you talking about? So they all went to like Ivy League schools, and I had no idea what I was going to do. I actually applied to Berklee College of Music. I got waitlisted. That was my one school I applied to. I put all my eggs in one basket. So what I ended up doing was going to William Patterson University last minute. They had a sound engineering arts major. That was a good fit for me temporarily until I figured out what I wanted to do. I was in a relationship. My girlfriend at the time, she allowed me to go home and visit weekends. Unfortunately, it didn't last. We broke up. It was a really terrible experience for me, so I needed a change of scenery, and I just did the complete opposite thing, which was I thought I'd blend in more with my friend's path and go to a big party school. I went to Indiana University, which is one of the top 10 party schools in the country at the time. I'm not sure if it still is. My major, I put liberal arts ? Because I was kind of just like, let's just get into the school and figure it out. I ended up really feeling lost there. I only stayed there for a semester. I ended up stopping going to my classes one at a time. I felt very lonely and depressed. But the one thing that kept me going was I was talking to one of my friends, a different friend from high school, who was still doing music. And I was writing some songs in GarageBand. We sent them back and forth. He loved them. He was in a band in New York City, and they were signed to a label. He said, "We need a drummer. Do you want to come out and play a show with us, and we can see if you're a good fit for a band?" And I was like, yes. And I talked to my parents. I said, I need to go for this. Would you guys be okay with it? They were, of course, super supportive. Or not of course, but they were, and I'm really happy they were. They're always supportive of me. But that leads to chapter 3, which is Almost Famous, age 20 to 22. My hobbies included YOLOing, mistaking, and that YOLO means you only live once. I'm not sure if that's like an outdated, do people still say YOLO? I'm kind of older than you guys, maybe. Mistaking momentum for stability, and still assuming it'll all work out. Notice I don't know if you can see my ears up here, so I got that sweet leather jacket. Here's a little video.
Tony is a very old friend of mine. We go way back. We needed a drummer, so we brought Tony in, and it turns out
He's perfect.
he's perfect.
Think of the drums being there and drive it the same way. Just right when it stops. Where's our drummer?
I don't even know what you're talking about. Do you even understand? Do you even know?
All right, so that was the press kit video. That was like one of the very first videos that we made. The band was a lot younger. Actually, I shouldn't say a lot. It was 3 years the band lasted total. And from there, we kind of evolved into a more mature sound. It was the real deal. We had a lot of financing behind us. On the left there is Carl Glanville. He was one of the producers for U2, if you guys know that band. On the right is Stu. He was vice president of Warner Brothers Records for 30 years. And I'm on the second to left there. Hunter next to me is a guitarist. Sophie in the middle is a singer. Anders was my friend from high school, played bass. And the bald guy is the manager. He's a drummer for some indie bands, also very successful. I'm going to go through it a little quicker because I'm trying to fit that 30-minute thing. This is my drum set from the studio. We recorded at Avatar Studios, which is one of the top studios in New York City. A lot of famous albums were recorded there. Palm Springs, Brooklyn, just playing a lot of shows, having fun. This is in Las Vegas. We were on that billboard. That was insane. Here are some promo shots, looking very cool there. You can tell I was just very in the moment of I've made it, and it was a lot of fun. There's me. My dad took that photo. I got a tattoo on my shoulder. Turns out I made my mom cry when I got that, but she's okay now. She loves it now. And there's me and Lance Bass from NSYNC. I don't know if you guys know that band, but we were on Lance Bass's Sirius XM satellite radio show. There is me in the newspaper for our town. It says, oh, the band's name is No We're Not, so we're going to look it up. No We're Nots definitely are going somewhere. Sadly, the newspaper was wrong. We did not go somewhere. We broke up. That bottom right picture is the last show we played. There was a big disagreement in the band. One of them being the image of our band was kind of debated whether it was, anyways. So I was heartbroken, and I needed to figure out a plan because I wasn't sure if music was, I wanted to give it one big shot, and then after that I was like, okay, let me figure out some other things. Maybe I can find a different place. So chapter 4, from passion to plan, from age 23 to 26, finding my work strengths, hitting a crossroads. Just again, I have the first band failing, second band failing. I'm learning to deal with different changes to my plans, and it's an important part of my growth from age 23 to 26. And then figuring out how I can get my passion into a place of structure. I think that was also really important for me too. This is really interesting. I took the time to figure out how many jobs I've had. Look at this list. I had 22 jobs. one of the disadvantages, I think, of some kids or your age or whatever, but you got to try stuff. You know, you got to figure out, like, you're not going to know if you don't like something unless you go out and try it. So I tried all these jobs. And I think nowadays people look at it and be like, how did you, you know, I'm not going to hire if you already worked at 20 jobs prior, but a little casual is also, I think, expected with the age. But, and you can tell, you know, number one, babysitter. That was what I did when I was, you know, 11 or 12. But so all the way up until job number 22, ice cream shop manager, was the last job that I had before opening Beanie's. Actually, that's not true, but we'll keep going. Speaking of ice cream shop manager, I really, really loved that job. Once I started working there, I was like, this is it. This is a job that I want to have. I used my creative talents to do things like design the menu board. You know, I drew all that. I you know, came up with Sunday ideas or promotions, or you know, I loved having relationships with customers that know me by name, and I'd get to know them. And it was just like a very tight operational thing for me. It was a huge fit in a number of ways. I also went back to school because remember how I dropped out of, I went to William Patterson, then Indiana. My parents were like, maybe you should go back to school. And I was like, okay, yeah, I should. So I went to CCM for interior design. That is a picture of my first apartment with my roommate in Morristown. I lived here, actually, when I had that ice cream managing job. I loved decorating rooms. It was just something like when I was a kid, I had like a Halo-themed room. It was amazing. And I also had a Cape Cod-themed room when I was like younger than that. I decorated my dorm room. I just liked creating spaces. Oh, when we had parties, I was responsible for like the music, the lights, and like, so I really liked creating spaces for people. So I thought maybe that's something I should, you know, check out. And it's highly visual, which I'm a visual person. That actually didn't end up lasting very long. I did that for a year at CCM, and then I decided it wasn't the right fit for me because I thought that I was going to end up doing more like colonial, traditional, because of the geographical area. I wanted to do more like specialized projects, and I was also really enjoying my job at the ice cream shop. So I was like, you know what? And it was laid out where we're going to have another location of that ice cream shop, and I was going to be put in charge of it. So I thought, I better get my degree in business management. So that's what I did. I switched my major at CCM to business management. This was actually on my phone. I took a picture of it because I wanted to remember it for the rest of my life because I just found it so fascinating. We don't have to talk about it, but it just shows like I had a thing for this earlier on. One of the, this is an interesting slide without any context, so I'll explain it. One of the things that I told the owner of that shop was we had to switch from store-bought ice cream to homemade ice cream because they had bought their ice cream at the time. I don't know if you know that some ice cream shops, they have an option to buy pre-made ice cream from like Ben & Jerry's or Hershey's or Hood or et cetera. I thought we needed to make our own because I was at the store where the owner wasn't as present as I was. Customer feedback was, do you make your ice cream? No, we don't. Okay. Everyone really wants homemade. So I said, let's figure out how to make homemade ice cream. I'll make it. Like, it's a win-win. And well, I won't get into more details than that. But we ended up going to an ice cream shop in Massachusetts where he had a connection. Someone was willing to show him how they made ice cream. And I learned the way they made ice cream was really sad and unauthentic to me. To make peanut butter ice cream, for example, you take a big floppy bag of ice cream mix, which was already pre-made and mixed. You just pour that in a bucket with peanut butter flavor. You can tell that's like a clear liquid. It's artificial flavor. Why wouldn't you just use like peanut butter, right? So that was really disappointing for me. I was like heartbroken again, thinking like, oh, like this is not. I had big dreams to use my creativity to make ice cream. And I thought this was going to limit my ability to do that. So we butted heads on that most of all, which led to me leaving the job. And I was, again, heartbroken for like the 5th or 6th time in my life. I was extremely upset because again, everything I do, I put all my eggs in the basket. And like, this was like, crap. Like, I did it again. I'm at zero again. What do I do? So for the next couple of months, I just, and I'm just using stock photos because I don't have, obviously, photos of me like being depressed. But I worked a couple more jobs. I worked at Banana Republic, was like one of the jobs that was listed back on that previous slide. And I was thinking as more time went on, I had an epiphany that, you know what, I think that I don't need that ice cream shop that I worked at. I think that I could make my own, essentially keep that same ice cream job, but I'm the one sustaining it and making it happen. It was a very big leap for me, and the biggest leap that I took was deciding that it had to happen now. Because I'll get later on into this important message, but there's a difference between dreaming and doing. And I decided, enough dreaming, I'm going to do it. And I needed to be extremely serious about it. Nothing else mattered except making sure this happened. I buckled down, I locked myself in my room for months, literally months. And the way I work, because I mentioned I have ADD, and my wife hates this, I work 10 to 12 hours at a time. I just have this thing that's hyper-focus, where once I start on something, I am locked in and I won't do anything else. But because of that, I can't work in chunks. I don't do 2 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours. That drives me crazy. So I just like to get all the pressure built up and just plow through it, and then I end up doing a really awesome job, which is what I did with my business plan. I wrote a business plan that really impressed, let me talk about this slide. I also, of course, worked on ice cream recipes, which you remember that I was showing how commercialized ice cream making was for homemade ice cream shops, right? By the way, that's how the majority of ice cream shops still make their ice cream, is mix and flavor, bottle, ounces. So I bought a Cuisinart machine. You can buy this too. It's really fun. I recommend it. It's $200 or $300. It's called the Cuisinart ICE 100. And you can make some really incredible ice cream, and there are recipes online. And that was the other thing too, is that I noticed business owners, I was pretty young, I was 25, and I'm thinking the internet is so detailed and vast, and everything's on there. And I think that I could use everything that I learn on the internet, such as really gourmet recipes for ice cream, are just up there. I'm not saying that I copied recipes, but I learned and I practiced how to make really good ice cream. And I thought, okay, this is the quality that we need. How do I bring this to a shop where I can scale it up and be something that will work in a large scale setting? So I don't have photos of me making the ice cream, sadly. I wish I did. By the way, we're halfway. I think we're okay in time, but no one's sleeping, right? Everyone's paying attention still? Okay, good. I would have been sleeping if I were you. Here's another video. I made this video of designing the logo. I'll tell you after the video. I made this song in GarageBand, by the way. I didn't want to try to talk over the music, but I named the shop after my dog, Beenie. I thought it was a really great fit for the theme. I wanted it to be fun and lighthearted, family-focused, just welcoming. And I love, Disney is a great motivation for me. I love the brand and the story that Disney built, which I think kind of just captures a really large audience. So I decided to name it after my dog, who later passed away that year. So it was kind of a memorial to him too. But yeah, so I was just doing everything on my own. I made that song in GarageBand in that video in iMovie, and I hired a graphic designer to help me. I drew it, but then he made it a computer vector version, and I made that in Microsoft Paint. That's how I wanted the store to be. On the right shows the store when it was empty, and again, really want to stress the fact that that business plan is. My landlord today says you really had a phenomenal business plan for someone who's 25 years old, and I was extremely impressed, and that's why he gave me that chance, which I thought was really cool and felt really good to hear that from him. So here's me in the space. I was just really having fun. As I mentioned before, I put everything into what I do. I set up my desk there, and I essentially lived there. I had a TV, and I just watched Netflix and just spent the whole day there. And you can see boards for freezer layout. So I'm just an expert at like just taking whatever's available to me and figuring out a creative solution. So like I laid down boards to figure out where I wanted the freezers to go, and I hired the architect, and I said like, okay, like, and I recreated that later on in I think Excel or something crazy that like wouldn't make sense, but like I sent him a visual and I was like, this is how I want the ice cream shop to be. I even made it in Minecraft. Like I'm just like all over the place. I'm not a typical person. I found like aesthetically I wanted it to be bright and colorful. I made those like little foam things on the bottom from like Michael's. I bought like foam and like cut it all out. Those pictures are from what's his name? I forget the artist's name, but I loved the style and it fit like our logo, so I just bought a bunch of prints and then framed them. Yeah, so that's like the whole vibe of the shop. I made the website on Wix. I designed the uniforms. That's a mannequin I got from Banana Republic. I went back and I said, you know, I remembered there was tons of mannequins in the back storeroom, and I was like, could I take one of these? And they're like, yeah, sure. So you can just, the pattern is that like I'm not letting anything stop me. Whatever I need to get done, I just like figure out a way to do it. Oh, this one's a really interesting story. I ordered all the equipment for the ice cream shop, and it was going to be delivered before the floors were ready. So imagine me freaking out, like, what do I do with all this? I can't leave this equipment outside. So I ended up renting a garage, or a storage unit, sorry. And they delivered there. And then, like, thank God, my cousin works for a trucking company. And I called him and said, can you help me move all this freezer equipment to my shop? And he said, yeah, I got you. And so we had that happen when it was ready. I painted the flavor boards, again, using my strengths, artistic, talent. I designed the pints. That was another butting heads kind of moment for that past job was, I don't know if you guys remember, probably too young, but it used to be all the ice cream cups were like styrofoam. So I really wanted custom branding, and that was typically done on paper, which I think I'm probably one of the first in the area to do the paper custom. At the time, I went to a bunch of the ice cream shops in the area, and I don't remember other ones doing custom paper. This is a nice slide. This is about my wife, Andrea. We met during the opening months before the shop. These photos were taken when she had just met me. So that middle slide is at IKEA. She came with me to IKEA to buy some tables that we ended up cutting in half and using for the store. Again, she'd known me for just a couple of weeks, and she took that photo. It's not like she was going to keep that photo in her library in her phone, right? The reason why she took that, thinking about it, is that she wanted to give it to me or to document just in general this amazing chapter in my life. So how selfless is that, right? Like Andrea is the definition, that's my wife's name. Andrea is the definition of selfless, and I recognized that early on, and I just grabbed onto her, and I love her so much. And that's something that the last week's speaker talked about, having a partner that believes in you, is supportive. It's so important because you're going to spend a lot of time with them, and if they're saying, no, you can't do this, are you sure? That's not the right thing you want to have in a partner. So, and Andrea was the opposite of that. She was like, do it, I'm here for you, let's go from day one. So, still doing stuff, painting, top secret recipes. Here's another video. You can tell I'm inspired by like EDM days, Ultra Music Festival. This was the grand opening. There's a coincidence. Well, I shouldn't say. That was a coincidence, if anyone's thinking anything. Okay. Okay, so that's that. Chapter 5, the Beenie Beginnings, age 27 to 30. Pressure, and we opened in 2017, 27. Actually, we opened a few months earlier. Anyways, pressure created consistency. Remember when I said I needed pressure to get things done? So that really was put to the test when we opened the shop. Pride without ego. Before I was just like, I'm great, everything will work around me. Now it's about being proud of what we built and then never letting that that gratitude go. I'll talk more about that in the later slides. And then action over anxiety. In the past, I was just like, I'm worried, what do I do, what do I do, what do I do? Non-stop what do I do's. I learned action fixes anxiety. Here are some photos from the earlier days of the shop. Everyone's happy, having fun. We got a Beenie Mobile a few months after we opened. We were the first ice cream shop to offer delivery. I was inspired by my earlier days when I was living in that apartment in Morristown. I would go out late and I'd order like Domino's, Cluck You, Fatties, if any of you remember Fatties. You know, all those stores delivered late night, and I was thinking, I want ice cream, and no one offers ice cream except like 7-Eleven. So that was an important business mission for us, was to deliver ice cream like a pizza shop, like that model, and we were open until midnight every day, 12 to 12 every day. So there's us at 1 in the morning. We're still making ice cream, and one of our delivery drivers took that photo of us. We also invented something called lava shakes, where if you think about what hot chocolate is, it's milk, cream, sugar. It's essentially hot chocolate, but just in liquid hot form. So we, instead of just having a really gourmet hot chocolate, we decided we'd use our existing ice cream and reinvent what hot chocolate is, which is that why not hot vanilla, hot strawberry? Like, why does hot chocolate have to be chocolate only? So there's lava shakes. You know, so this is us, you know, growing and learning what the customer wants and how do we, you know, get better and better. We improved by getting a walk-in freezer. When we first opened, you know, we did things the cheap way, not in the ice cream quality. All the money was put into the ice cream quality, but I had like chest freezers to get the shop open. So we eventually invested in a walk-in freezer, which was an enormous breath of fresh air for us. We got new floors. I put those floors down very cheaply, and then the floors on the right are real floors that are going to last for a long time, and they're still there now. 2020, COVID hit. As you can imagine, that was a very big challenge for us. I remember crying the day we closed because it was just such an enormous amount of pressure, not knowing what to do. You know, my whole life was invested in this. I wasn't sure. You know, I had made a lot of plans. Anyways, after about a few weeks of, you know, coming up with ideas, we reopened in the form of handing off pint orders through the plastic sheet hangings. That was our idea. And then we put our kiosk outside too in case anyone wanted to pay after the fact. But a lot of the orders were online orders. And then you can see we, you know, had like a little window, and all the shops ended up doing stuff like this, where we also had markers on the floor. So these are solutions that you know, I wouldn't have imagined when COVID first hit, but eventually, you know, they came into place, and I think this is a nice slide as an example of like you know, action over anxiety, like I said before. Chapter 6, still building, age 31 to 35 and on. I'm 35 now. Year 2021 to unknown. Reinvesting is a big part of Beanie's. I always believe in you know, don't just squeeze money out of a business. I feel like there are some businesses that do that, and it makes me mad. You gotta always, you know, give back to your customers. Think, how can I be better? Keep reinvesting. Joy in projects. I also love staying busy. The ADD that I mentioned, like, I need to keep doing stuff and new projects, and I'll find something to do if I'm bored. Gratitude. I am so thankful for our customers. Without them, Beanie's is not around, obviously. And just because I think that we've kind of made it, how many of you have heard of Beanie's? Heard, okay. How many have been to Beanie's? Awesome. So I had a feeling it was the majority of you, which is really amazing, right? Like, I wouldn't have thought of that, you know, earlier on, that that's the case. So it's like so cool. And I hope you can kind of sense from me today that I still feel like, wow, like this is incredible. And yeah, it's important to me that everyone knows that I am so super thankful for Beanie's. And I still act humble. I try to act humble, I guess, about, anyways. Finally, long-term mindset. I want to be here for a long time. I bought a house in Morristown, and I just love this so much that I just want to do it for the rest of my life, and I hope I can do that. We had an opportunity to expand into the space next door, but we did, which was really a huge leap for us, really exciting. There's me showing the space as we're working on it. Again, we're just so like crafty in that, like, we're just figuring out, like, how do we make that ugly metal pole in the middle of the room into something? Well, how about we buy a bunch of like trees from IKEA, fake trees and cut the branches off, and then use brown duct tape and like paint the whole brown. And we made it into like a feature of the room. It's a big fake tree, and it's like perfect for the theme. We also, there was this weird cutout we just decided to make look like bricks. I'm not going to go into too much detail. We made murals. This is like a finished product. We're the first shop that I know in the area to put down like fake grass flooring, which is like really cool and really fitting for the theme. And we have a fake little campfire area. Just like these things are so much environmental and about the customer and not so much about like profit, I guess. But it comes back in a circle in a way. Because I guess people were saying like, why don't you just open another side business, and something that embellishes beanies and it's another source of income. Well, I disagreed with that because not only is it not as much fun to not do this, but I think we were busting at the seams. Like I thought that people would eventually see beanies as like, if it was too packed and we wanted to grow, they look in the window and be like, I'm not going to go in there, it's too busy. So having that space elevated our ceiling and allowed us to really cement ourselves. Also, just visually, we're like a really sizable shop. So it's just like, wow, like that's Beanies. Like we wanted to position ourselves as like the shop in Morristown. And I hope that we do that. I know there are other ice cream shops, obviously, and they're welcome to be here. I'm not saying that, whatever. I'll move on from that. We got a mascot. That was also, I mentioned, Disney. I think. Visually having a giant dog, that's not something you see from normal mom and pop ice cream shops, having a mascot. So I was like, let's get a mascot. That's hilarious and fun. So I got like a professional grade like mascot, and Beenie is amazing. He's hopefully going to be in the parade this year, the St. Patrick's Parade. And we do birthday parties and stuff. Then I decided this was a little, like, I wanted to do some upgrades on this space. This was how it's been for 8 years. We also first we had to start with some professional photos, so we got done. We replaced like the plastic wall with like tile, which like, I guess you'd think, would be done day one, but again, I was just trying to get open and get the ice cream out there. I got TV menus. I built these like cool wooden frames for the TVs. And more freezer space, more flavors, novelties. We updated the flavor menu board with more flavors and just a cleaner look. Finished the bathroom, finally. We had that fire hydrant around the toilet since we opened because that was like my theme idea. It was like, dogs go to the bathroom on fire hydrants, so I thought that would be a nice haha moment for customers. So we finally finished it in like a fire hydrant or a fire station theme. And then we also are now getting into events for like weddings and birthday parties and stuff. So we got an ice cream cart and we're ready to do that. And to bring that ice cream cart around, because that's a pretty heavy thing, we got a Beanie bus. Because the Beanie Mobile is also kind of on its last legs. So I got a ID Buzz, which is like the new Volkswagen bus, and it's a really, really fun. I just like things that make me laugh, and like you look at this car, it's like it's a clown car. It's like so fun and funny. I love the Beanie bus. It makes me smile. And we also played around with our backyard seating area by having like a movie night. Look how beautiful that is with like it was Christmas time, so we had the string lights and Stranger Things. Actually, it was the season 5 premiere, but we were just testing it out with season 3. And I still get to draw on things. I draw on all the cakes. I actually decorate all the cakes that come through Beanies. Okay, last chapter, my advice. Here are 6 things that I think you should think about. Number 1, what did you like as a child? I recommend you use your talents and love yourself for your quirks and frame them as strengths. I have many quirks, and I try to frame all of them as strengths. And I think if you look at yourself as, here are my weaknesses, I don't know. I think it's better to like figure out where you fit in with how you are rather than adapt to a version of yourself that someone else might want, but you might not necessarily want. Which leads me to, why do you do things? If you don't know why, you will quit when it's hard. I guarantee you. You have to know why you're doing something. It's really, really important. Take risks to be happy. That's a big one. I have so many friends that complain about their jobs, their whatever situations they're in, and then I want to say like, well, why don't you do this? Or I give them solutions, and then they don't do them. I think it's just because they think that the chance of, or the pain experienced by making the change is greater than, I forget what sorry, it's a Tony Robbins saying. I can't remember off the top of my head. Anyways, you only live once, so why not take a chance on being happy in your life, right? What's the best that can happen, not what's the worst that can happen. Number 4, enthusiasm is essential. Like I was saying before, let others see the love you have for what you do. You kind of have to be a salesman. You don't have to, but this is all recommendations, right? I think positivity is contagious. I love what I do, and I think that's part of why Beanies has the energy that it does. Number 5, be kind but protective. Stick to your mission. Be selective about what advice you take. Now that's a good one for as you're in your 20s, I think. You're going to get a lot of opinions given to you. One of the opinions that my parents gave me when I was opening Beanies was, why not start with an ice cream truck? That was because obviously an ice cream truck is less of an investment, less risk, easier. But that wouldn't have been what I wanted to do. I was like, nope, I have to do exactly what I want to do, because then that goes back to the why, like I said before. Why? I wanted to have like a space. Remember I was into interior design? I wanted to have a store. That was my passion. So I needed to be protective about my mission and not let outside influences doubt me, but also be kind and respectful, obviously. Number 6, and this is the last one, it's all possible with a plan. Be a dreamer and a doer. Don't just dream, but dreaming is good. You gotta, figure out what's gonna make you happy, be excited about it. But then some people do that and they never take any action and do anything about it. So some people are like that. Some people are all doers and no dreamers. So it's a combination of both. You got to dream, and then you got to do it. You got to know what you're going to do. You're going to go figure out how. You're going to know by when. Okay? This is a slide that I wasn't sure if I wanted to add, but I think it's kind of important. Or not kind of, it is important. Don't chase money first. I have always been purpose over money because I'm a pretty good imagination type person, where I was like, I'm like, all right, let's say I have all the money in the world. Am I still going to want to do this? And if the answer is yes, then good, and keep doing it. Purpose over money, because rich gets boring, sad, and pointless if you don't enjoy your purpose. Try, for fun, fantasize about that. Pretend you won the lottery. Would you still be doing, your career path or wherever you're thinking you're going? That's a fun exercise that I recommend. Number 2, money is still important, but it's a responsibility. So I do recommend you learn as much as you can about money, because money doesn't solve your problems. You will always have money problems. And this is advice from a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which I don't agree with everything in that book, but it was a great little starting point for me. You're either going to be having problems finding the money you don't have, or you're going to have problems keeping the money you do have. You're always going to have money problems. So learn as much as you can about get your financial education in order. Number 3, money is a goal, but not the goal, right? Money itself doesn't really have value. If your goal is I want to make $10 million by the time I retire, I'm sure that's a good milestone, but it shouldn't be the goal, right? The value of money comes from the dreams that money helps achieve. What did you do up to the $10 million? Were there any dreams that you got to experience on the way there? And last, you are not your money. This is a big one for me. Sometimes I think if I didn't open Beanies, would I still, I want to get into the whole, woe was me kind of thing. But don't fall into the trap of conditional self-worth. Love yourself despite the goals that you accomplish. You are who you are, how you treat people, and the relationships that you build, how you grow. All those things matter more than your dollar and your net worth. What is my purpose? My purpose is to live a life as authentically as I can, and to use my talents and abilities to create things that bring happiness to others and to myself. And this is a purpose that never ends. This is the last slide. Thank you for life isn't something that happens to you. This is what Mr. Daly was saying. Like, school isn't something that happens to you. Right? Life isn't something that happens to you. It's something you make yourself all the time. Don't let life just happen to you and you be in a place where you're like, oh, like, this is why I'm like this, or this is only because this happened to me. Change it. You have the power to change things. And there are things that you can't change, sure. But you do what you can with the cards that you're dealt, and that's going to make the difference between a woe is me life and a really amazing life that hopefully you can look back on and feel proud of. The end. Thank you, guys. Oh,